Okay, this video is about multiplying and dividing real numbers. There are some basic cases we want to know about. Starting off, obviously normal multiplication and division. 3 times 2 equals 6. And for multiplication, if we need to write anything, we're going to write a dot, not an x, because that could be confused with the variable x. Division, you're going to want to write it in fraction form. So for instance, 6 divided by 3 equals 2. So that's straightforward multiplying and dividing of real numbers. Negative numbers add a slight twist. If we have negative 3 times 2, we have negative 6. If we have 3 times negative 2, we have negative 6. And if we have negative 3 times negative 2, we get positive 6 again. If you have an equal number of negative signs, you end up with a positive number. If you have an odd number of negative signs, you end up with a negative number. The same can be true for division. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. 6 divided by negative 3 is negative 2. However, negative 6 divided by negative 3 is positive 2. So when we have the odd number of negative signs, we end up with a negative. When we have an even number of negative signs, we end up with a positive. Real numbers also include fractions. So to multiply fractions, like 2/3 times 4/5, it's actually easy. You just multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. So this is 2 times 4 over 3 times 5, or 8 over 15. No simplification necessary. So multiplying is relatively easy when you're dealing with fraction notation. And real numbers includes fractions. We're not really going to be dealing with decimals or percentages as much, but you want to know how to deal with it in terms of fractions. Likewise, dividing fractions is fairly easy if you know how to do it. If you have 2/3 again, and this time you're dividing by 4/5. The first thing you need to do is find the reciprocal of the second fraction. So the reciprocal of 4/5 in this case, which is going to be 5/4. And then you turn the whole problem into multiplication. 2/3, instead of divide, now we write times the reciprocal 5/4, and then we just handle it the same way we handled multiplication before, 10/12, which can be simplified because they're both divisible by 10, so that equals 5/6. And that's your final answer. So 2/3 divided by 4/5 is 5/6. Another rule that goes along with all this stuff is just the reciprocal rule or the inverse rule, which just says if you multiply something by its own reciprocal, the answer is going to be 1. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say we have 1/2 and we're going to multiply it by its reciprocal. A reciprocal, remember, is just flipping the fraction upside down, so it would be 2/1 in this case. 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 1 is 2, and we know that 2 divided by 2, or 2/2, simplifies to 1. Anything times its reciprocal equals 1. And that works for all sorts of numbers. So 3/4 times 4/3. We can even see in the simplification because we can simplify here and we can simplify here, and eventually everything's going to equal 1.